Welcome, everybody, to the Zoo Crew podcast. Scott Hastings, Andy Lindahl, with you once again. There's a lot of ways we could go to start this week. First and foremost, you and I got into this last week, but you got your first real broadcast experiences since we've last chatted. We've had two games. Nuggets played Miami. They played, why am I spacing the Oklahoma City? I want to say Clippers because of Chris Paul, but Oklahoma City.
Right.
Yesterday. What did you think? I thought you made a point. Did you not make the point about Monte Morris and some free throws, no crowd, no heckling? You and I have talked about it. What have you picked up from these no crowd games? Anything surprise you?
I think there is a small amount of pressure that is taken off of players. I think it's the same thing watching baseball games too. I think if you're playing in Coors Field, for example, and as long as Wade Davis isn't pitching, and you've got a 2-run lead and 50,000 people are up and around and screaming, there's a chance that either attention, wanes or pressure mounts or whatever it is. The same thing with free throws. You're sitting in a building that's sterile and you're not really hearing anything. And you don't have Rocky holding some dummy up or something and punching him or something like that, or whatever he does during free throws. It would become easier. I mean, you had Rudy Gobert make 2 free throws with like a 2 or 3 seconds left on the clock to win a game, and you're like, I don't know if he's a 56% shooter,
right?
And right. I think, and listen, I'm a little older than you. And as I've gotten older, the one thing that I love about sports now, more than the physical side of it, is the mental side of it, and the ability to block out, a heckling visiting crowd and stand up there and make free throws is that's a sign of mental toughness. Why I still think John Elway is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. I mean, when you're coming back, not just home games, but you're making comebacks in San Diego or Oakland or wherever, and you got 80,000 people that hate your guts, Cleveland, and you got 80,000 people that hate your guts, and you come back in that environment, that crowd, and it doesn't bother you. There's a mental toughness about it, guys like that, and I think that's the beautiful part of sports we don't talk enough about.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's being cheapened a bit. I mean, I played a sport where nobody showed up to watch us anyway. So what is it like when you shut however many thousands of people up? You've experienced it. You've been a pro athlete. What is it like when you shut a building up and you're sending them home?
And listen, I was never in the pros a great player, but what it becomes, and I learned it because I think I felt the pressure, at times when I was young in college. It becomes, and it's really funny. I used to do a lot of coaching and a lot of camps, and I would teach people when you get to free throw line that you got to develop a routine. And the routine now becomes your mantra while you got 20,000 people cheering against you. It's bounce it once, 2, 3, shake, elbow in, cock, wrist, lie the basket, follow through, shoot. And you're not thinking, oh, my God, my girlfriend's going to leave me if I miss this, or I'll never get another minute late in games, or all that is lost. All that mind part is out when you're able to do that. So I don't know. Listen, I want a great player, but I think the great players do that. I think even in a loud arena, the great players can block stuff out. That being said, there's a lot less in all sports great players than there are great players. I mean, let's go baseball. We're watching the Rockies just crush it right now, first place. Been fun to watch. Nolan Arenado, even though he's not hitting the ball yet, had a home run the night, Tuesday night. Yeah. He's just great. But there's only one Nolan Arenado on that team. How does McMahon do it? How does all these other guys, Tony Walters and all these other guys, how are they able to overcome? And that's, to me, probably the key to winning, don't you think? It's not the McKinnon that hits the great coach, the great goal to win the game against St. Louis. It's your second line guy.
It's Kadri.
Yeah.
Well, and it's Ryan Graves breaking the goose egg. Young defenseman that is a couple games away from being counted as a rookie. Guys never really had to really stare down too many big NHL moments, I don't think.
Yeah, so I am more fascinated by the mental aspect of sports than anything else as I get older, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm with you, and I think there is something, like you said, to mentally going in there, facing down the crowd, feeling like you against the world, whatever. I mean, again, you can downplay your career all you want. You still got paid to play sports, and most of the people listening to this podcast, if not all, can't say they did the same. So I know and you were part of some bad boy teams that were hated in a number of stops that you guys had to make. So, look, I think it's been fun. I'm happy to have sports back, but I do think, to your point, it's not the same pressure they would face. You guys said it the other night. It's like you're shooting free throws in a gym, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's something to that.
I think that for all the sports right now.
Yes,
and it'll be that for
everyone's
football,
got their own
football,
version of it, right?
I'm watching the NHL game the other day, and I'm like, and they're in real arenas. They're in like real, probably 19,000 seat arenas that you're like, and they plastic over the lower level, and you're like, that is sterile.
Yep.
The at least in the bubble in the NBA, they're in like little bitty AAU gyms that high school kids would have normally played on at this time. If it was a normal summer, you'd probably have AAU tournaments going on there.
See, and we've got it up in front of us too. I mean, Scotty, I credit the NBA again. It's unique to their situation because of the setup of the court and so on and so forth. I like the virtual fans. I like the fans that are actually moving on that video board. You and I touched on it last podcast.
Pretty smart by them.
Yeah, because you know what? It's an actual, there's a fan experience. The expression changes.
But here's the difference. Because I watched the Rockies game tonight, and they got the stupid cutout cardboard board of
ex-players.
Of all players. And Dinger. And Dinger's in there, too.
Dinger's in there.
Right? And I'm like, they just stand there, after a while you're making fun of this. And two things that are different. One, each individual baseball team and facility is responsible for what they do.
Right.
The NBA has, one location, three arenas, and so they put it on themselves. I read an article, I think it was with the Atlantic or Athletic, $170 million the NBA is spending in Orlando to put these games on. They built a barbershop
right
on Disney's properties, and then all the other stuff and the amenities that are there anyway. But I'm like, you spend $170 million? Well, guess what? That's a whole new studio. There's a central hub studio for everything. There's the virtual reality that they put all the TV monitors and all what would be one side of the gym for every team. And then they tell the teams, get your people. You got 200. If you're a home team, you have 260 people can fill these screens. And if they don't fill them, we replace them. And so they have like a green room. And if you leave your seat for more than like 3 minutes, you're off, and here's the next person in there. So I think it was wise. Now, if baseball were to do it, which I think they could do it, you can tell me the Rockies couldn't fill 30 seats right behind home plate. But guess what they got to do?
Spend some money.
The Rockies have got to spend some money.
Yep.
And this is the NBA doing it. So I give the NBA some credit and some foresight for doing that. And good on them. And let's keep our fingers crossed. The NBA, with the trouble baseball's had, the NBA, and now with the NFL, people backing out, and Juwan James just did it. I mean, all this stuff like that. The NBA and the NHL seem to have, got something figured out, and now all of a sudden Bob Nightingale's theory with baseball, hey, bubble in Florida, bubble in Arizona, Cactus League versus Grapefruit League, let them all play in the area, keep them all sequestered, and get a champion. We'll find a neutral place. We'll play that championship game. And everybody called him stupid. We had a guy on our radio show who said, it's the best idea of bad ideas. And I'm like, really? You think anybody right now would call Bob Nightingale and said, that was a bad idea? Really?
And don't tell us that it's a hot spot, because the NBA is in the middle of a hot spot. Nothing's going on. They've kept it clean in the middle of Orlando.
Yeah.
So
well, but they have security, and they have the social bands that tell you when you're within people. They have the rings that guys wear that if you start getting a temperature, it reads out automatically. So there's got to be a command center that's reading all that stuff. Like I said, they spent $170 million to make sure this goes off. I don't know about you. That ain't
No,
that's a little
lot of
money.
money.
That's a little money right there. And listen, I'll give the NBA another credit. I know I'm an NBA guy, but I'll give them credit for this also. Guys break the quarantine, guess what? Or break the boundaries, whatever. Boom, quarantine 10 to 14 days. Automatic.
Yeah.
And so they don't play. And
Yep.
so guess what? If you're in Jimmy Butler after the Nuggets game, I guess, and I haven't heard all the particulars, after he plays great and beats the Nuggets, he breaks the zone somehow. Guess what he is? 10-day quarantine. Well, you think Miami like to have him?
Yeah.
And what if you do it next Saturday?
See,
now you get into real playoff games.
This goes back to some of the mental stuff you and I are talking about, and I don't think. I mean, we've joked about it, we've laughed about it, but look, these are young dudes. Okay, you want to know one thing? You want to know the reasons why I loved getting to go to play up at the Vail tournament? The Vail tournament was like the big deal when it
for lacrosse. It was big
for lacrosse. It was the highest.
Usually
level.
around 4th of July, wasn't it?
It was always on the 4th of July. And you got these little player wristbands that you got to wear because we got field access and all that.
I was up there one time accidentally for 4th of July and knew nothing about it. And it was one of the coolest weekends. We had a condo. It was awesome. And we would go down the fields and just walk lacrosse. And that's when I knew nothing about lacrosse.
Well, you got one of them player bands. You're kind of king of spring break there for a week, right? Which means you're going to probably make some friends and maybe wouldn't have the same. I get why these guys don't want to just sit in their hotel rooms all the time. I got to imagine, just speaking openly about things, it's got to be fun being the big man on campus when you're in your 20s. And I'm sure guys want to enjoy the social benefits of that. We're going to make fun of people for leaving, but I think there's a real mental challenge. Daniel Schlereth was telling me that he tried to go over to Taiwan. It was going to be 2 weeks by himself in a hotel room, not allowed to leave because he was going to try to play for one of the Taiwanese teams. But he had to spend 2 weeks, like he was loading up on all these things that he could do.
Did he do it?
No, they ended up not. He got some interest back here in the States, and I'm really crossing my fingers that they're going to give him a shot before it's done because he's throwing really well. But I really want, before anybody makes fun of some of these guys, and look, Jimmy Butler, that's stupid. I get it, but still, 2 weeks. Now you're asking the guys, the champion of the NBA is going to spend about 3 months living under these weird conditions.
But think about it. Ryan Harris, another buddy of mine, who I do the radio show with, was part of that Super Bowl 50, starting left tackle. He said, I don't know if it was right up the AFC Championship game or sometime, maybe the first meeting back because it was a Sunday and they gave him a couple days, right? That Gary Kubiak comes into the offensive meeting and says, guys, I need 12 days. I have 12 days of your total concentration, your total involvement, staying at home, doing the right things. And after 12 days, do what you want. But the parties are better as Super Bowl champs than Super Bowl runner-ups. And he said they bought in. They were committed for those. I mean, they're sequestering. Basically, he said, we sequestered up for 12 days. He said, I didn't go out. I had family come in. We didn't go to dinner. They did something together one night or so. But he said, we bought in. Well, I mean, that seems like a lot. To be an NBA champion, it's a little more than that. But, I mean, it's like, okay, give me 2 months. 2 months. Major League Baseball, give me 3.5 months of being disciplined. Which brings me to a question I got to ask you, because I haven't heard exactly how you and Nate were talking about it. But I thought I heard a promo. Rob Manfred needs fired.
See, I heard you. I heard you on your show talk about it.
Did it change your mind a little bit?
Not really. But I have a problem. I understand. So to catch everybody up, I think Manfred doesn't survive if the season shuts down again because he's going to be the face of this thing shutting down.
He'll be the fall guy.
He'll be the fall guy.
Whether he deserves it or not.
Did I say it was all his fault? No.
Yeah.
But right now, you don't look like you understand the PR game when you're calling up Tony, and now I'm spacing Tony Clark, the head of the Players Union, and saying, hey, your guys got to act better. Dude, it's got to be a partnership. Now, I get to your point. We all want to fire the guy that's the mouthpiece, but that's what Manfred is. Now, I think the point that Scotty made about Manfred was he's just doing the owner's bidding, and Roger Goodell has proven your point over and over and over again.
Thank you.
1,000 people. So
1,000 times worse than Manfred so far.
Yeah, come on now. When you're always responding to things after we get the video, Ray Rice, you didn't handle it before. So I understand where you're coming from. I still think Manfred takes the fall because, again, I think both guys could go, though, to your point. Tony Clark may go, too.
Here's my biggest problem that I have on all this. It's like Derek Jeter's press conference.
Yeah, I heard that too.
We need to get off these guys. They didn't go to a strip club. They didn't do this. I don't think it's unfair to these guys. Yeah, we did have a couple guys that go out. One went to dinner to friends and one went to get clothes. Well, wait a minute. When you say he went to get clothes, it makes like he went home. No, he lives there. They were at home anyway. He went to a store. He went shopping. He went and cruised the mall is what he did. And to sit there and say, don't pick on these guys, and then admit these guys went out. There was the other guy in St. Louis. A reporter asked him, said there's reports that three of your guys were seen, or 3 or 4 of your guys were seen at some club.
At a casino.
A casino, that's what it was. And he goes, well, I haven't seen any factual evidence, but if they did. So the point being, the baseball could be closed down because of those 3 guys in Miami and those 4 guys in St. Louis, and Rob Manfred's going to get fired. Now, I'll say this. I think Rob Manfred and Tony Clark butchered it 2.5 months ago when instead of coming together and figure out a solution to bring baseball back, they were already negotiating the collective bargaining a year from now.
Right.
They already got into that.
Right.
They both should be fired PR-wise from that. But it's like David Price. See, I told you, Manfred's not worried about player safety. And listen, I'm a player, but I'm like, God, I want to cuss. Can we cuss on this?
Don't care, yeah. Put a warning.
Fuck. Beep that. Beep that for me. When the heck did we decide that there's no responsibility from a player? From the 2 or 3 guys in Florida that went out, even if it wasn't a club, they left their house. What about the 4 guys away? And that's Manfred's problem. Price in L.A. who decided not to play. Everybody's right to choose that. That's fine. But now it's Manfred saying it's player safety. Well, how about the players taking some responsibility for their own safety?
Yeah, come on. It's player safety if you picked it up inside the ballpark. It's not player safety if you went out somewhere else and caught it.
And that's the funny thing. No one is saying that any of these guys got any of this stuff in ballpark.
Well, you know what I do? I gotta be honest with you for a minute. What I think is funny, because this is kind of the Lou Williams thing, right? Oh, he got it from a stripper. It's not herpes, man. It's a virus that allegedly can live everywhere. That's why we're all wearing masks. But I like how all of a sudden it's like some sort of STD or it lives inside. It's lurking inside the bad casino. Dude, they could have caught it. Oh, what we are finding out is one dude could have got it at the grocery store from contact with the wrong cashier and then brought it back and spread it out that way. Let's not act like this is drugs, or they didn't pick up cocaine and give everybody half it, man.
Well, let me ask you this.
Come on.
Have you ever been to a dancing facility?
Oh, yeah. I've seen a gal tackled for not knowing the rules of Colorado.
You ever been to a dancing facility and not used the restroom?
No, I don't. I've not tried to. I'll tell you this.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I
I'm
know
just
what
saying
you're going into the
a
restroom
couple
for.
beers.
Yeah.
No, not me. I'm talking about having a couple beers. Let me go take a leak and then get right back out for the next dance. Candy on the backstage. Make sure and tip all your waiters and bartenders. Okay, whatever. Dude, you don't know how clean this place is.
Hey, man, you could have got it.
And that being said, it's not like strip clubs have ever been known as being clean.
No, I'm with you. But again, we all assumed when someone tests positive, everybody said they're hitting the clubs and doing this. When again, just judged off of we got to wear masks for a reason, and they're disinfecting everything for a reason. It could have been in the damn Uber. Now again, if it was in the Uber, you shouldn't have gone anywhere, and then you wouldn't have been in the Uber. I get that. But I do think it's a little unfair to assume they're up to the worst behavior possible.
It's funny because I saw a story from this guy, and I felt bad for him. And he's a cab driver in New York, and it's his business is down 80%, and blah blah blah. I feel bad for him. I really, really do. Then as I get deeper in the story, he was tested positive for COVID and did have to quarantine for 14 days. Well, God bless you. We don't know nothing about this. You want to ride in a guy that once had COVID? I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not a doctor, but whatever. You just don't know. The point being, you just don't know. And my problem is why. And I also said on the radio show, I don't like to advocate in these days anybody getting fired, and I've always been like that way. I don't. Do I think guys do a great job? But I've never called for coaches to be fired or anything. Do I like him? No. Other than Mike McCoy, they can put him as something else. I didn't ever want him to be an offensive coordinator or head coach again for my team. He could go anywhere else. Please take over the Kansas City Chiefs. Mike McCoy, please go become the Chiefs' next head coach. I'll be happy for you.
Well, the nicest guys to me in the NFL has been Mike McCoy.
I know.
You do not like him at all.
I can't stand the way he coaches. Or his play calling. And he might be a wonderful guy. I was told by Scangarello I couldn't stand him. I thought he was a Mike McCoy Jr. I always said he was wearing Mike McCoy's bike pants that he left over, bike coaching shorts he left over in the locker room and said, hey, these fit. Okay, I'll wear them. And I was told Scangarello's a great guy. But that's just me.
Maybe wore some stuff he didn't have to last year. But
yeah.
Wore as far as blame.
But you don't know in today's time what's out there. And so to just sit there and say, well, see, the protocols don't work. No, the protocols don't work if you don't follow them.
Right.
So if you want to fire Rob Manfred, I'm okay with that. I don't love the guy, I don't think he can be any worse than the used car salesman they had as commissioner for 10 years.
Good old Bud Selig.
But, I'm not advocating for it, but I wouldn't lose any sleep if he did. But if you're going to fire him because of not handling it, then you better fire Tony Clark, because guess what? His players aren't in control either.
Well, I'll give you this to your point, and I got something that maybe we can laugh about in a minute. We all thought that both Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith had done their last deal back in 2011, right? Both sides had to be fired. This got too ugly. And guess who both cut this deal? It was Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith. So, to your point, both sides were just doing what their unions wanted.
And don't tell me it ain't about money. Whenever,
it's all about money.
Just remember this: when anybody says it ain't about money, it's always about money.
It's completely about money. But by the way, so you're bringing this up, and I remember I heard you say it on the radio. And Mark Andrew, our guy, does a great job of making promos. How many times do you? Like, you brought this up, and we've talked about I don't even remember what we were even talking about when I said what I said. Do you get to the point where you do so much radio, you don't even remember some of the things that you said that people came up and said and to tell you that you said?
Yeah, but I'm also leery of that because people hear things that you didn't say.
No,
either.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But I do, I get fired up. I'm the Happy Gilmore of radio, where I get really fired up about something that I don't really care about an hour later. Not even near as much as I.
But see, you know what we do? And maybe we're old school. Maybe it's the young podcasters guys and, the guys that have no business doing this. What? Oh, was that out loud? I was just thinking that.
You want me to bleep that too?
No, you don't have to bleep that. But it's for the most part, it's regurgitate radio.
Yeah.
And unless you're really passionate about it, and I'll remember this statement because I've said it twice today. But come on now, at halftime we're just regurgitating stuff.
The same takes.
And I'll be anything if you're mad about that. Sorry, that's how I took tests in college. Studied my ass off the night before the test, regurgitated onto the test, and the next day, hey, what was that equation for the?
Yeah, hey, too late. That's done.
Yeah.
I don't need to know it anymore.
Done.
Let me shift gears on you a little bit here, because we're not, we're going to talk sports, and we've got time, to talk Juwan James and the Broncos situation and so on. So we'll get to that at some point. I don't know if it'll be necessarily this podcast, but so I'll just admit it to everybody because you know what's going on. I was teaching, right? I was teaching for a while. The teaching thing's not happening anymore. And I finally got to a point after about 4 months where I kind of need that income back. And I think you can. I got like 3 things I want to get to you on this. First and foremost, have you ever just sat there stunned at how things, like I'm going through now my 3rd routine change in just over a year. And I'm excited I'm going to go work at the Home Depot, and I'm going to be doing nights.
Can you get us a sponsorship?
I'm going to ask. But first off,
the Home Depot.
Now get this.
Zoo Crew redo.
So here's the thing. We could go do it from the Home Depot.
Hey.
So here's what I thought was funny. They're going to have me working in lumber, and I warned the guy today. I go, dude, I don't know I will do whatever you're willing to teach me. But I don't know anything about this stuff. This is going to be interesting. And, it goes back to not being taught handyman stuff by my dad. The guy's like, well, we're going to get you working on the saw. We're going to teach you how to drive a forklift. And I'm going to learn a bunch of cool man stuff that I don't know.
Well, that is good. And the most impressive people at Home Depot are going, hey, do you know where the little washers are that go on that back screw behind a washing machine that hooks up that whatchamacallit? Yeah, that's on B4. You're talking about the dust? Yeah. And they could take you right there to it. Those are the most impressive guys. And then that being said, dudes like me who want a 6 foot by 3 foot, raised flower bed, so I'm going to get my boards cut to those exact lengths. You're supposed to do it for me.
I know. And I told him. Now, here's
scary.
the thing. I think I'm going to have the shift after the store closes, but we'll see.
Now, let me ask this. Do you know anything about a good piece of wood and a bad piece of wood?
No, I don't know anything about anything.
There's your wife. But anyway,
BlueChew.com.
BlueChew.com. Another sponsor we'll take. But seriously, I mean, like if somebody wants, I need 25 2x4s. First of all, do you know a 2x4 ain't 2x4?
Right.
I mean, it's about like 1 3/4 by 3 3/4.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the hell American society got gypped off a half an inch on a 2x4, but they have. If you go like my daughter had a house that was built in the 20s. Her first house, she bought a little bungalow. We had to. It was crazy. She had a leak, fixed the roof, had to insulate it, lost some sheetrock, had to re-sheetrock it, had no insulation on the outside walls. It was just newspaper. Well, the newspaper was like from 1943. Hey, women, do your part. Come work at this factory. It was fascinating.
I wanted to keep it probably.
Fascinating newspaper things all wadded up as insulation. But the addition to the 1920s house was built in the 40s. So we did all this and insulated stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. But the 2x4s in her house were real 2x4s. And I'm like, that's my biggest question. Maybe you can find this out now that you're a wood guy. Now that you're,
I'm in lumber.
Now that you're in lumber at Home Depot,
I'm in solid wood.
Find out honestly, and maybe can anybody get a hold of us if they want to, because they ask questions on the. If anybody knows the reason,
tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet us at Scott Hastings,
at Andy_Lindahl,
at Andy_Lindahl. Tweet at us. Why the need to gyp people out of a half an inch of wood?
Okay.
I mean, it had to be a cost-saving thing.
Maybe.
Hey, let's make it 1 inch and 3/4 by 3 3/4. They'll never know.
Well, I'll effort to find out if my supervisor's up to listening.
I would like to
see.
know.
Maybe we'll even have them on one night. Who knows?
I would like
Maybe
to
that'll
know.
help further the sponsorship quest.
I would like to know. And, well, the thing, a 2x6, 1 3/4 by 5 and a half almost.
If you were to work at Home Depot, where would you be? Because the guy asked me, he goes, because I told him point blank, I go, I'm not quite sure how you called me back for lumber, but I wasn't going to tell anybody no. And so, but he was cool. He's like, look, dude, we'll teach everything you need to know.
I honest to God, it wasn't until after I got divorced that I actually learned about stuff like this. I re-roofed my daughter's entire house. Had to learn that. By the way, do you know there's a special tool to use to take shingles off a roof?
No.
Well, I've got 2 of them out in the garage right there. I can show you what they are. I mean, it looks like a...
Hey, I'm lucky to have Golden Spike Roofing. I'm okay.
It looks like a spork with a little wedge on the bottom so you get on the shingle and can pop it up.
Nice.
Yeah. and then
You took 6 layers of shingles.
yeah, and her house had like 5 or 6 layers on the roof. And by the way, thank you, Colorado Home Inspectors. I don't know how the hell you passed that inspection, but anyway, but I had to learn I had to do that. And then the warden, I call her the warden, Julia's dad. I mean, we helped redo his entire deck. That's why I told you. I said I think I could help you do this because I learned how to do a deck. I am now a proud owner of some Ryobi cordless power tools, and also a handful of cord power tools because those are stronger. And when you really need to cut some serious wood, don't go with the cordless.
Battery. You need the cord.
Sometimes you need a cord. So anyway, and let me tell you what, when in trouble, if you get do you have any electric tools, battery?
Some, but not. Yeah. Well, I mean, I got like the weed whacker and the blower.
I'm telling you, a tool.
No, I don't have any cool tools. I'm hoping to get some.
Cut something.
Yeah. No, I don't have any of that.
Yeah. First thing you got to buy, Sawzall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got the little Dremel thing, but that's it.
No, that's not it. Let me tell you what, a Sawzall can solve a lot of problems.
Good. Well,
yeah, it can cut bushes down, smaller trees, or nails off of 2x4s or into a plank.
well, so can the Dremel.
How you gonna get in the middle of that? You got to give me about a 5-inch blade in there that's a wooden metal blade.
Do you have all the man skills now that you want?
No, I don't have. No,
do you have some more you'd like to learn?
But I enjoy doing it. You can't see it, but in the back of my house, I replaced those 3 layers of fence, and I went and bought them piecemeal, so they were put together. But then I had to dig out an old post, 2 old posts that were in cement. And any guy's ever done that is not fun. Dug those out, reset 2 new posts, put in 3 new sections of fence, replaced slat by slat about a section and a half over here. Did that by myself.
Can I tell you? So the other weird thing was I go do my interview today, and I'm so used to shaking hands. Is it not weird to meet somebody and just stare at each other now? Like, don't you have the quiet? It's almost like the sort of moment of silence for the handshake. Is you kind of look at the dude and everybody, you sort of go, but then everybody stops because you're not supposed to, and you just end up staring at each other?
I have been in that situation minimal, and I forced the elbow touch.
You do the...
I put the elbow out, and I think that calms all
Why
anxiety.
can't we go knuckles?
Well, I did that to somebody the other day. Somebody put the hand out, or was out there, did something for me. I put the knuckles, and I could tell he was real hesitant, and he gave me a quick knuckle, and I went, okay, well, I know who you voted for. Anyway, and
well, okay.
So, but anymore, if I feel that people are uncomfortable, I just give them the little elbow, boom, boom, boom. We get out of there. You know?
Have you done the exaggerated nod? The how do?
No.
See, I've done one of the. What I feel stupid as I try to smile at people because I'm not big by your standards, but I ain't a little guy either. So sometimes I'll roll around the corner and startle a couple people, especially if you got your fast guy walk on because I just want to get the hell out of here.
Right.
And so I try to smile at people. And you're in your mask. You're smiling in your mask. Nobody knows.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Your eyes changing.
Is that a smile or is that the evil?
I've been watching you.
I'm following you home later.
Check before you go to your car. No, it's I miss a handshake. Come on, I come from the generation where you got it. There was some,
you got a
look
deal,
the
you get a
man in the
handshake,
eye, and let's not go tough guy now. But don't give me the fish. Don't give me the fish in the newspaper.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know what?
How am I supposed to judge you now?
There's going to be a generation of kids that aren't going to know anything about the fish handshake in 20 years.
Yeah,
They're not ever going to have experienced the fish handshake.
it can put you off somebody, right?
Yeah.
It can give you the warning that you need.
Hey, speaking of all that, is it funny though? Before all the sports came back and all the stuff, no spitting, no grabbing, no high fives, and I'm like, damn, I ain't watched the game. I ain't seen none of that. I mean, I've seen all of that.
Yeah, there's
baseball guys are still stepping back out.
Yeah, I think they're trying, but man. You get on. They're back to what they know. It's muscle memory. Spitting on the field is as much muscle memory as anything else you do, is it not?
Well, it used to be. Good, bad, or indifferent. It used to be.
And I'm not a chewer, so I wasn't chewing. I just spit when I start playing ball. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just a moment.
Let me ask you the last thing I'll ask you for this. Is it weird to you, and do you find that your viewing habits has completely changed?
See, I'm still watching a lot of sports.
I didn't watch any for 3.5, 4 months.
Right.
I didn't watch although I watched a great UFC fight today. Dustin Jacoby got a new UFC contract. I watched the Dana White experience or whatever it is, and you have fights, and then he can choose or not to sign the guys. It was really cool. And the kid from Colorado who was in it 10 years ago got back in it today. But I didn't watch any of the previous fights. The only baseball games I'd really watched, I didn't really watch any of those. I had listened to them on the radio. I finally started the last week saying, I got to start watching sports. I think I do a sports show. I mean, there for 3 months we wondered, but I think it's a sports show. So I've watched, probably 6 or 7 basketball games. I watched my second full baseball game. Got my UFC on tonight. I've watched probably 3 hockey games. I missed the Avs game, but I'm like, my habits were completely gone. I'm looking for the Umbrella Corp on Netflix. I'm watching Fear City, on Netflix. Talk about the mafia in the 80s. I haven't watched any. It's really tough to get back.
See, I watched the Avs. I couldn't wait to watch the Avs and Blues. I was super excited for that. But that's another one where without the crowd, the intensity isn't the same so much. Now, both teams kind of had their struggles as far as, getting the offense going and all that kind of stuff and so on and so forth. But I was into the Avs. I got into the Nuggets. I missed the Nuggets' first game. I was going to watch the replay, but then seeing the results and everybody crabbing about it, I just decided not to bother against the Heat. But I had a lot of fun watching yesterday. I almost wanted to get you on the show when we were done, but I felt bad about how long your day was. And I loved watching little Michael Porter. But man, did I love watching. Like yesterday, Joker just kind of reminded everybody, hey man. And I heard what you said on the show today about him being competitive. Joker's just still like, look, when it's time to get it done, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to go ahead and everybody can touch the ball, and here's your points, and go have your 30-point day.
Oh, we need to win now?
But when we need it,
we need to win now.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, here I go. And that's what it looked like. But you know what great players kind of do?
Well, yeah.
Do you remember how many times Kobe used to come into Denver, and you're like, Kobe's only got 5 points at halftime. And then next thing you know, at the end of the game, he's got 37.
35, right.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, what happened there? And that's what I think great players do. They want to get guys involved early, and they know they're going to take over late. And that's cool. Monte played great. Millsap played great. Michael Porter Jr. had a career high. Great. And we love it, especially all the young people. Oh, this is great. And stop. Because the best player on this team is Michael Porter Jr. Excuse me, is Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. has a chance to develop into the best scorer on this team. But the best player will still be Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
If this team gets to where it needs to go, here's another thing I had to ask you. And that is some idiot on Twitter. And I had said something on a broadcast or preview. I said, listen, the Nuggets aren't legitimate NBA contenders yet.
No.
Now, can they get lucky and
Sure.
people get hurt, somebody gets whatever, breaks the curfew, get seriously hot? Do they have the talent to win it? Yeah, but I don't think they're serious contenders. I think they make noise. I think the Avs are serious contenders. Will you be disappointed if the Nuggets don't win the championship?
No.
Will you be disappointed if the Avs don't?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because I think the Avs are a year ahead. Next year, ask me this, I'll be disappointed with the Nuggets.
Now, I'm scared about their goaltending, but I think you got what you need to overcome it.
Maybe so. But I said they're not contenders yet. And the guy goes, I hate excuses. And I stopped and I went, I mean, listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. My grandmother was a fabulous English teacher, and she probably rolls in her grave half the time she hears me talk. But I think I made a statement and not an excuse.
No.
I just said they weren't contenders.
Let me
I
maybe
didn't say why. I didn't give you. I just said they're not contenders.
let me try to give you the mood, because I kind of understand this. He didn't need to direct that at you, like you said. I think you're being truthful. If you really look at it, and you go, you know what? Don't just take local schmoes. Go look. You trust the national guys? Go look at them. People are talking about the Raptors, the Bucks, the Lakers, and the Clippers, and some are intrigued by Houston, which I just don't think all three is going to work.
I don't think so.
And I'll be honest with you, if there's going to be a surprise team to me this year, it could be Dallas. Dallas kind of scares me. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too caught up in the star power of their two main guys. But that said, most people are taking the Lakers. Look, the Clippers have already dropped a couple right now. So to your point, they could surprise some people, but I don't think the Nuggets are quite there yet. And yesterday went a long way to making me feel better about things, but still, things just don't feel like they're humming the way they did a year ago.
And real fast, don't get like over ecstatic because of yesterday, but don't get panicked like you and Nate did after that first loss either.
What do you and Nate? You didn't hear nothing from me? Go check my Twitter.
Let me just tell. Well, I'm talking about your show. Let me just throw this.
Hey. By the time our show hit the air, we had something to feel good about.
All right, so give me
They won.
Give me a ranking right now on the Nuggets' current roster of 1 through 13, where these guys would sit as far as value on the team. I'm still saying Nikola Jokic is 1.
Jokic is 1 to me.
All right, where's Jamal Murray?
He's either 2 or 3.
So let's just say 2 for right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
In a year now, maybe Micah Porter might win that, but right now, 2.
Let me tell you why I hedge.
Will Barton.
Look, recency bias. How about I put it to you this way? And I feel bad if I'm not playing your game right. Michael Porter Jr. probably for this year needs to be 3 for that surprise to happen. Because I think the shot and the scoring is consistently there.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. But
people would tell you 3 as far as.
But as currently stated, he's probably 3.
He's probably 3.
And Gary Harris, 5'6".
I don't know, man. Gary Harris was one of my. Gary Harris's toughness last year was up there with Millsap's.
And
I think playoff toughness is important, but it's
so 4, 5, 6.
Yes,
which one?
Sure. 4.
All right, so let's take
Millsap. No, you know what? Harris 5. I'd go Millsap 4.
Well, Millsap's playing, so we can't count him. So I'm just naming the 3 guys that are playing. You said are probably 2, 3.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
2, 3, and 5 are missing from your team.
Fair enough.
So let's go Lakers. Second best player on the Lakers, Anthony Davis.
Yep,
he's gone. Third best player on the Lakers, Kuzma.
Sure,
gone. And then the next one, fix 5. I don't even know their whole roster. Pick out 5. They win in this?
No.
Who's the best player of the Clippers? Kawhi?
It goes Kawhi. So you get rid of Kawhi.
So no, Kawhi's 1. So
Kawhi's there, but then Paul George is gone.
Your third best player, Montrezl Harrell, gone. And your fifth best player,
is it Lou?
Lou Williams, gone. They win it?
No.
All right. Milwaukee, you take away Middleton, Chris Middleton, gone.
Right.
Third best player, Bogdan. He's got a head the size of a pumpkin.
Yeah.
He's got
Bogdanovich is on Dallas.
Utah, but he's not playing.
Or no, Utah. Who's the guy?
Brogdon. It's
whatever.
But whatever. Or the kid they got from Phoenix. Point being, you take 3 of the top 5 players off of all these contending teams. Guess what? They don't win it.
I get it. So but I think there's also some frustration.
And I agree that and that's no excuse. It just is what it is.
No, you're right.
So to beat Oklahoma City yesterday in a game that mattered probably more to them than Denver, with Chris Paul, with Danilo Gallinari, with Steve Adams, with all their guys there, and to win that game, that's pretty big accomplishment.
I loved yesterday. We talked about it. Now we had 30 minutes to talk about it, but we talked about it. So, no, Michael Malone told you all you needed to know. He said he's not worried about this so much. He knows he's not grabbing one of those top 2 spots, so he's worried about just avoiding one of those 2 teams in the first round, okay? He said, you got to get your guys right. You don't want anybody hurt long term. I'm not, but I guess all I'll say is the guy that tweeted you, I get the frustration sometimes.
Yeah,
but let me ask you
sick of the excuses. I didn't give you an excuse.
Yeah, I know. You're taking it personally.
Let me give you an excuse and then get on my ass.
Okay, fair enough. Dude, Twitter sucks, all right? Twitter sucks. Yeah. And we are there sometimes, and I've accepted it because I get crap texted to us all the day, how much they hate you, how much this sucks. That's fine. You know what? I'd rather you say it to me than someone actually in your life. Get your bad mood out on me and go home and live your life and be cool to your dog or your wife or whatever there is in your life, okay? But is there not a loser's limp in Denver right now? I didn't plan on going here, but I think part of what you're a victim of is the Broncos have not even been average the last few years. It's been a tough watch. The offense has made a lot of people not want to watch second half of games, which has never happened here. The Nuggets, I think even though last year was a lot of fun, so it was kind of like your honeymoon year, and even though you tell people, which you and Chris and everybody's been saying, hey, this is probably not the year, we're probably a year out, we don't want to hear that as fans. We went to the Western Conference semis last year. I'm expecting the Western Conference Finals. I don't care that Kawhi and Paul George joined the Clippers. I want to be better than what last year was, or that's not success.
Yeah.
The Avs are finally coming around, but they had their years of trouble. And the Rockies are the epitome of loser's limp, despite they're off to a great start now. But how many? If we were to poll a bunch of Rockies fans right now, how many of them are going to give us? If this were a regular season, if this were a normal season, and we were in April with this start, because I've done the show. Most of the fans would not enjoy it. They would tell you, check in with me late June. They would enjoy it by Memorial Day. They wouldn't even enjoy it by the 4th of July. And I've done the show. And back in 2018 when they went to the playoffs, the fans kept saying, this ain't going to last. We in Denver have fans that wait for the crap.
Yeah.
We want to guarantee or we ain't all the way in.
The good thing about the Rockies is they didn't start till after the June swoon. So we didn't get to experience the June swoon.
Don't you think there's something? I think there's something to this. They're going to miss most of this hot July weather that dries crap out and turns Coors Field into a launching pad.
Maybe
you
so.
got lucky there.
Maybe so.
Pitchers,
Maybe so.
Although, dude, that guy, who was it? The Padres, you probably didn't see it. The Padres pitcher that pitched Saturday night, or maybe it was Friday night. I think it was Friday night. That cat, you could see the Coors Field look. He had a couple pitches that didn't move at all, and he just kind of gave a look back to, like, what?
What the hell is that? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because guys have told me it feels like a cue ball. Apparently, and you'd probably know because you played more baseball than I did, but Daniel Schlereth and Jason Hirsch have told me there's like almost a little fuzz to the baseball in most places
baseball.
that you can dig your fingers in to make things.
Good baseball.
Guys say
spongy.
here when it gets into that weather that we talk about and the humidor ain't doing its thing, it feels like a cue ball off a table.
Let me ask you this. I don't know how long we want to go with this podcast today. Stay with us.
Yeah,
why the hell did you go to the humidor?
Honestly, I don't know, because you thought you're too busy trying to play real baseball. Don't be real baseball.
Take advantage of what it is. Who cares? Or else turn up the humidor. Maybe it ain't high enough.
You may need 2 humidors.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, but baseball's screwed with the baseballs. Because, look, you can go ahead and smash on the steroid air all you want to. We all had a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie, man. I had a good damn time watching balls fly out of the park. I loved, in 1998, watching them check in on Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire's stinking home run chase every night.
Remember going down doing the radio show from the radio booth because McGwire was taking batting practice?
I wasn't working with you yet. How's it been again? I was still bartending.
Oh, well, I did. We went and did the zoo from the radio broadcast booth because McGwire was taking batting practice, and it wasn't until like the third hour because we were on from 3 to 7. Game started at 6:40, so 6 o'clock pregame. He'd come out about 5:10, and we're sitting there broadcasting the radio show, talking about his at bats and batting practice.
It's a good time. Okay, now I'm not advocating steroid use for anybody, but at the end of the day, people like some offense. Now, baseball went too far with messing with their baseballs the other way and launch angles and all this other stuff, but that was a good time. All right, we probably ought to wrap it up, but I've had fun chatting with you there.
Did we settle anything?
I don't know yet. We'll find out. Hey, call Golden Spike Roofing. Go get you a 2x4 at Home Depot and see if it's really a 2x4. I guess Blue Chew if, you're bored. right?
And if you need finance, check in with Ideal Home Loans.
Call our friends at, I can't
Brent
say
Iverson and Ideal Home Loans. Check in with them.
that. We'll save mine for the
I mean,
next
I don't
time.
have sponsors like you do, so I mean, go ahead and throw all yours out. Can I get the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And make sure you go to
Blue
Christopher's.
Chew's not my sponsor. I don't
Christopher's
just-
thought you once did.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
a
what
month.
you know what you are of this podcast? You're the Rafael Palmeiro of this broadcast.
I'm the
I
Mike
never
Ditka.
took any enhancement drugs in my life. Dude, I just watched your Viagra commercial. What do you think that is?
I am the Mike Ditka throwing the football through the tire swing.
Let me ask this. Just me.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do the Blue Chew or the regular Bluey or the Cialis,
Sure.
don't you need?
A willing participant, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought that.
I've said it for years.
Yeah.
The problem is not the pill.
Yeah.
The problem is the agreed upon contract.
Maybe you ought to do one of those dual commercials. You ever see how they have dual commercials now?
Yeah.
And they have two and get Doritos with Pepsi and all that stuff. Hey, try the Blue Chew. And,
Right.
And check out Jergens hand lotion. It's wonderful.
Well,
Moisturizing
you know,
cream.
why is it for us? I'm not the one that needs to get in the moment.
Really?
I don't need to get in the moment.
Well, okay. Why are you looking at me like that?
Oh, I'm just letting you know. I'm digging in.
You know what you just gave me? You gave me the big man look.
Yeah.
That was a big man
Yeah.
look. Yeah.
Don't question me.
Hey, you might be socially distanced. Them eyes weren't.
No.
No.
I'm digging in.
They popped out.
I ain't lying to you.
Oh.
That ain't the issue.
Yeah.
There's plenty of issues,
Yeah.
but that isn't it.
That ain't one.
It's called general interest, and all this is.
I got 99 problems, but that
But
ain't
that
one
ain't
of them.
All right. That'll do it.
Thank God they don't listen.
Au revoir.